What if I told you that the most magnificent, like perfect-looking animals on the African savanna are actually the most boring ones out there?
I mean, they certainly get all the attention, right?
Right. But today, we're going to look at a group of animals that they eat garbage, they cover themselves in mud, and they have these giant wrinkly face flaps.
Which sounds completely bizarre if you're just used to the standard storybook animals.
Exactly. And by the end of this deep dive, you, the listener, are going to realize that they're actually like the most beautiful creatures on Earth.
It's a total shift in perspective.
So whether you are, listening in the car on the way to school or just sitting in your living room, we want you to really picture the African savanna at sunrise.
Golden light, tall grass, all of that.
Yeah, but we're going to look right past the traditional superstars of the plain, the ones that look like they just stepped out of a polished cartoon.
Right, the ones that fit our really conventional definition of beauty. Because when you open a typical storybook about the savannah, the descriptive language is just so predictable.
Oh, totally.
The text we're analyzing today starts exactly this way, setting up this standard of flawless aesthetics. We see the lion with his glorious mane, the kudu with its spiraling horns looking cool.
Looking very cool, yeah.
And the rhino looking fine, the zebra described as graceful. It basically paints a picture of absolute symmetry and, visual perfection.
And don't forget the bright pink flamingo.
Oh, right, of course.
The story calls them simply divine. But, here is a perfect example of why this surface-level beauty is a bit of an illusion, because flamingos aren't even born pink.
No, they're not. They're actually quite dull when they hatch.
Right, they're born this, dull gray color. They only turn pink because they spend their days digging through the literal mud, eating massive amounts of algae and tiny brine shrimp.
Which is incredibly messy work.
Exactly. Their divine beauty literally comes from a messy, muddy diet. If they didn't get their beaks dirty, they wouldn't be beautiful at all.
And that biological reality just completely undercuts the idea of effortless perfection. I mean, we are wired, both as humans and as animals, to notice symmetry and bright colors because evolutionarily those things often signaled health.
Like, oh, that animal has a shiny coat, they must be healthy.
Right. But a smooth coat or a symmetrical face tells us absolutely nothing about the underlying mechanics, or the survival skills, or the actual character of the animal.
Yes, just the surface.
And the narrative of our source material understands this perfectly. It builds up this flawless morning scene specifically to knock it down. It abruptly shifts the focus away from the graceful zebra and the glorious lion, and it basically says, but wait, who is this creature so ugly and weird?
It's the ultimate interruption. Out steps our first main character, the wildebeest.
Yes.
And the author, man, they do not hold back on the description. The wildebeest is described as having spindly legs and a gingery beard.
Very specific details.
She has a big chunky chest and a skinny behind. The text even jokes that to call her plain would be a compliment.
Ow.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But instead of hiding in the bushes because she doesn't look like, a sleek leopard, she proudly stomps right through the grass and sings a song about being the ugliest animal under the sun, claiming her ungainly appearance is second to none.
Which is fascinating. Let's actually examine why the wildebeest looks the way she does, because form always follows function in nature.
Okay, lay it on me.
So we call her chest chunky and her legs spindly. From a purely, aesthetic standpoint, it seems disproportionate. But biologically, the wildebeest is built exactly like an Olympic marathon runner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that massive chunky chest. It houses an enormous heart and incredibly powerful lungs.
Because they have to migrate. Right. The Great Migration, like they're walking thousands of miles across the Serengeti.
Exactly. They are in constant motion, tracking the rainfall to find fresh grass. If they had thick, heavy legs like a rhino, they would expend way too much energy and they'd never survive the journey.
So they need those skinny little legs.
Yeah, right. Those spindly legs are actually marvels of biomechanical engineering. They are lightweight, they're incredibly strong, and they're designed for maximal energy efficiency over really long distances.
That is so cool.
So what the savannah calls ungainly, evolutionary biology calls the absolute perfect design for endurance.
So she is basically a high-performance vehicle disguised as, a clunky van.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And that brings a whole new layer to why she is singing so proudly. She is taking up space,
Yeah.
trampling the grasses. She sings, I'm the ugly one. My ungainly appearance is second to none. She knows she doesn't fit the savannah's standard of beauty, but she is completely owning her reality.
She really is.
It takes a massive amount of bravery to walk out into the open and loudly sing about the very things that make you different.
It does. And by loudly proclaiming her presence, she acts as a beacon. The psychology of this is just fascinating.
How so?
Well, when you refuse to hide your perceived flaws, when you put your authentic, unfiltered self out into the open, you inadvertently create a safe space for others to do the exact same thing.
Oh, because they see you doing it and feel brave, too.
Exactly. And we see the immediate result of this when the wildebeest encounters the next character stepping out from the scrub.
The spotted hyena. And, oh man, he introduces himself with so much dramatic flair. He says, "How do you do? I'm the spotted hyena, who could be uglier, who could look meaner."
He really leans into it.
He does. He highlights his mane that is all spiky and his skin that is all spotty. He says no other creature could look quite so grotty.
Grotty.
Grotty is such a brilliant word for kids, honestly. It just sounds, rough and dirty and a little bit unpolished.
It's very evocative, yeah.
But he doesn't stop at how he looks. He brings up his voice, which is this mix of giggles and groans.
And, the vocalizations of the spotted hyena are wildly misunderstood. Oh, absolutely. We often project human emotions onto animals, assuming that because a hyena giggles, it is laughing or finding something funny.
Yeah, I definitely always thought they were just having a great time.
Most people do. But in reality, that giggling sound is actually an indication of social stress, nervousness, or a signal of submission during feeding.
Really?
Yeah, it is complex communication regarding hierarchy within their clan. It's not laughter at all.
But that makes it even more relatable. I mean, think about when you are a kid and you get called on in class or you feel totally awkward and you let out this weird, nervous laugh.
Right, the nervous chuckle.
Exactly. You aren't actually happy. You are just trying to process feeling uncomfortable. The hyena is basically the embodiment of that awkward, nervous kid who doesn't quite know what to do with their hands.
That's a perfect analogy.
And speaking of feeding, the hyena says his absolute favorite thing is crunching on bones. Which sounds spooky, but I'm guessing there's a functional reason for that too.
Oh, an incredibly important one. The spotted hyena possesses one of the most powerful jaws in the mammalian kingdom, combined with highly acidic stomach fluids.
So they can just digest anything.
Pretty much. They are one of the few predators capable of digesting solid bone. So by eating the bones left behind by lions or leopards, they are actually recycling critical nutrients like calcium back into the ecosystem.
So they're basically the cleanup crew.
Exactly. They clean up the savanna. Their grotty habits are an essential ecological service.
I love that. The glorious lion leaves a giant mess, and the grotty hyena is the one who actually cleans it up and recycles it.
Doing the hard work.
Right. And the wildebeest doesn't judge the hyena for any of this. She doesn't say, "Ew, stay away, your laugh is weird." She immediately shouts, "Hoorah! Join the club!"
And the creation of this club is a really pivotal moment in the narrative. They are actively seeking out community based on shared differences.
Yeah, they are drawn to each other.
In social psychology, we often talk about the concepts of the in-group and the out-group.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, the lions and flamingos represent the dominant in-group, the societal standard, the cool kids, so to speak. By forming their own club, the wildebeest and the hyena are creating a new in-group, where the only entry requirement is simply being your unconventional self.
It totally reminds me of doing a jigsaw puzzle.
How so?
Well, if you have a bunch of puzzle pieces with perfectly straight, smooth edges, they can sit next to each other, but they can't actually connect.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. It's the weird pieces, the ones with the jagged edges, the strange cutouts, and the funny shapes that actually interlock and hold the entire picture together. The wildebeest and the hyena are realizing their jagged edges fit together perfectly.
That is a very apt way to visualize it. And their confidence grows exponentially once they are connected. They begin kicking up dust, making a tangible mark on their environment.
It's not louder.
They do. They change their song from "I'm the ugly one" to "We're the ugly too." They are no longer isolated. Their shared experience empowers them to just take up more space.
Which is exactly when they spot the third member of their puzzle perched up in a powder puff tree.
Ah, yes. The llama-faced vulture.
And the author uses such a great visual contrast here. Like, a powder puff tree sounds incredibly soft, delicate, and pretty like a fluffy cloud.
Right, very pristine.
And sitting right in the middle of it is this bird who proudly announces, "I have flaps on my face that are wrinkled and pink, and a beak that is gigantic, and what's more, I stink."
The physical description of the vulture is really challenging the listener's comfort zone here. The wrinkly face flaps are called lappets, and the lack of feathers on the head is a highly specialized adaptation.
Because they eat dead things, right?
Yeah.
The vulture says his habits are vile, and he prefers food that's been dead for a while.
Exactly.
So if you had a beautiful fluffy head of feathers and you were constantly sticking your head into like 3-week-old messy food, those feathers would get incredibly gross and infected.
Precisely. A bald head and fleshy lapis are remarkably easy to keep clean in that line of work.
Makes total sense.
And as for the stinking, vultures have incredibly corrosive stomach acid, even stronger than the hyenas.
Whoa, really?
Yes, they can consume meat infected with anthrax, botulism, cholera, and their digestive system completely destroys those pathogens.
Wait. So the vulture is basically a flying hazmat team.
Basically, yes.
They are eating diseases that could wipe out the entire savanna, neutralizing them and keeping every other animal safe.
They are the ultimate firewall against disease outbreaks in their ecosystem. But because their work involves decay and unpleasant odors, they are totally rejected by the conventional standards of beauty.
That is just so unfair.
The story really highlights this disconnect between vital function and visual appeal.
It is the ultimate injustice. The flamingos get called divine just for eating shrimp, but the vulture literally saves everyone from anthrax and gets called hideous.
It's quite a contrast.
But again, the wildebeest and the hyena, they don't run away. They recognize another weird puzzle piece. They shout, "Bravo, join the crew."
They are building a squad of misfits.
They really are. And as a trio, they are splashing through the water, singing loudly when they come across member number 4.
An animal luxuriating in the bubbling mud. The warhog.
Oh, the warhog. He pops out and immediately lists all of his perceived flaws, almost like he's reading a resume of reasons why he shouldn't be accepted.
He's very self-critical.
Extremely. He says he has 2 pairs of tusks, bristly cheeks, a dumpy body, a head that is way too big, and bumpy skin covered in horrible warts. Oh, and deafening snorts.
Notice how the warthog focuses heavily on his proportions. He feels his body is dumpy and his head is too big.
Yeah, like he doesn't fit together right.
And for a child listening, this is a deeply relatable experience.
Yeah.
Children go through massive growth spurts where their bodies feel entirely disproportionate.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Their feet might grow away before their legs do, or they might develop acne or weird bumps. The warthog is articulating the discomfort of living in a body that feels like it doesn't quite fit together properly.
That is so true. Middle school is basically just a hallway full of warhogs trying to figure out their limbs.
Exactly.
But let's look at those horrible warts for a second. I have to assume they aren't actually warts like, what a human gets on their finger.
They are not. The warts on a warthog are actually dense, thick pads of cartilaginous tissue.
Okay, so what do?
Well, male warthogs engage in fierce combat during mating season, crashing their heads together at high speeds. Those thick pads protect their eyes and their skulls from the sharp tusks of their opponents.
So it's not a wart at all.
No, they are essentially built-in armor plating.
Built-in armor. That is awesome. And what about rolling in the bubbling mud? I know kids love to get muddy, and it usually just means a huge pile of laundry for parents. But for the warthog, I imagine it's more than just playing around.
Mud serves multiple critical functions for them. Warthogs do not have thick fur to protect their skin from the intense African sun, so the mud acts as a highly effective sunscreen.
Oh, nature's SPF.
Exactly. And additionally, as the mud dries and eventually flakes off, it actually removes ticks and parasites from their skin, so it is both a medical treatment and a cooling mechanism.
Okay, so the warthog is just sitting there in his custom-made sunscreen, wearing his built-in facial armor, and the group just shouts, "Yippee! Join the clan!"
The circle expands again.
Now there are 4 of them. They're ambling along, scaring the starlings, demanding to be seen. But they still need 1 more member to complete the ugly 5.
And they find him raiding the rubbish bins down by the dump.
The marabou stork.
Yes, the marabou stork. The stork's introduction really pushes the boundaries of the unconventional, even further than the vulture.
He really goes for it.
He states that no water bird looks as dreadful as him. He describes his enormous wings, his gangly posture, and his tingly-dangly throat pouch.
Gangly is the perfect word. It's that feeling when your arms and legs are so long you just keep bumping into doorways.
Yeah.
But the tingly-dangly throat pouch, what is going on there? Because it looks like a giant pink deflated balloon just hanging off his neck.
That is called a Gieler's sac. And while it may look bizarre compared to, say, the sleek neck of a heron, it is a multi-purpose tool.
Really? What does it do?
It connects directly to the bird's left nostril and acts as a resonator to amplify their mating call.
Like an echo chamber.
Yes. And it also serves as a thermoregulatory device to help release excess body heat.
Okay, so it's a built-in megaphone and an air conditioner. That's pretty handy. But the stork doesn't stop there. He delivers what I think is the most shocking line for a kid reading this story.
I know exactly which one you mean.
He proudly says, "My legs, long and skinny, are covered in poo, and I'll eat almost anything, even a shoe."
Yes, the mention of legs covered in poo usually elicits a very strong reaction from young readers.
I mean, yeah, it's gross.
It sounds gross, but there is a fascinating biological reason for this behavior, which is known as urohydrosis.
Urohydrosis. Okay, hit me with the science.
Birds do not have sweat glands, so to cool down in the blistering heat of the savanna, storks and vultures will excrete liquid waste directly onto their own legs.
These go right on their legs.
Yes, because as the water in the excrement evaporates, it cools the blood vessels in their legs, which then circulates cooler blood throughout their entire body.
Wow. So they literally use their own bathroom habits as a central air conditioning system.
It is a highly effective evolutionary adaptation.
That is simultaneously the grossest and most genius thing I've ever heard. And eating a shoe. That just proves they are the ultimate scavengers. They will process anything they can find, cleaning up the environment even more thoroughly than the hyena.
They are opportunistic feeders. They ensure that absolutely nothing in the ecosystem goes to waste.
And in response to this spectacular display of bizarre habits, the group doesn't even blink. They just shout, "Yoo-hoo, join the mob."
They have built a complete community out of misfits.
They really have. Which brings us to a critical turning point in our analysis, the Ugly Five Anthem.
Yes, this is where things get really psychologically complex.
So the band is fully assembled. The wildebeest, hyena, vulture, warthog, and marabou stork. The story says they are marching together, casting long shadows. And that imagery is so powerful to me.
It implies a sense of scale and presence.
Exactly. When you cast a long shadow, you look giant. The sun is behind you and you are taking over the landscape. They march and they sing this loud anthem. "We're the Ugly Five, we're the Ugly Five. Everyone flees when they see us arrive." How can such hideous creatures survive?
We really need to pause and deeply analyze the lyrics of this anthem because it reveals a profound psychological truth.
Yeah, I struggle with this part.
They are marching with confidence, yes. They have found a supportive in-group, but their self-perception remains heavily damaged.
That's exactly what bothers me. If they feel so powerful together and they are splashing in the water and casting long shadows, why are they still calling themselves hideous? Why are they asking how they even survive?
It seems contradictory.
It really does. It feels like they should be singing about how strong their armor is or how great their endurance is. But they are still insulting themselves.
What you are identifying is a very common defense mechanism, particularly prevalent in children and adolescents. It is the concept of preemptive self-deprecation.
Preemptive self-deprecation, meaning you make fun of yourself first.
Precisely. When individuals feel deeply insecure about a trait, perhaps they wear thick glasses or have a stutter or are carrying extra weight, they often make a joke about it before anyone else can point it out.
Oh, man. I see this all the time. It's like when a kid says, "I know my drawing is terrible," before they even slide it across the table for you to look at.
Yes, that is the exact behavior.
They are trying to protect themselves. Like, if I call my drawing terrible first, then you can't hurt my feelings by saying it's bad. I already beat you to it.
Exactly. It is emotional armor. The animals have found a safe space with each other, but they have not yet learned to truly value their own reflections.
That's so sad.
It is. They are still judging their worth based on the standards set by the glorious lion and the divine flamingo. They still believe the label that society has put on them.
So their logic is basically, we are the ugly ones, but at least we are ugly together.
Exactly. They have community, but they lack genuine self-love.
That is heartbreaking, but so incredibly real. They have the puzzle pieces put together, but they still think the picture they make is just ugly. They need someone to hold up an entirely different kind of mirror. They need a total shift in perspective.
And the narrative brilliantly provides that shift right here. The boisterous, loud, self-deprecating parade is suddenly brought to a halt.
It's the ultimate plot twist.
It really is.
The loud marching just stops. The dust settles. The text commands, "But stop just a minute, be quiet." And it asks, who are these people from burrows and hiding in trees?
Peeking out from the long grass.
Yeah, peeking out from the grass, looking down from the branches and popping out of holes in the ground. It's their babies.
And the introduction of the babies completely shatters the existing framework of the story. Well, up until this moment, we have been evaluating the animals through the lens of societal aesthetics, the savanna's superficial standards. Babies, however, do not possess these societal biases.
They don't care about magazines or perfection.
Exactly. They view the world through a purely functional and emotional lens.
The babies pop out and shout, "Hello, we're your babies." And listen to how they start talking. They don't immediately start talking about the spindly legs or the warty faces. They focus entirely on actions.
Verbs, yes.
Right. The babies say, "You give us our food and help cheer us up when we're in a bad mood."
This is a radical redefinition of value. The babies are focusing on the provision of resources and emotional regulation. Cheering us up requires empathy, it requires presence and connection.
Think about that from a kid's perspective. When you are having a terrible day, maybe you scraped your knee or you feel left out at school, and someone knows exactly how to make you smile, the way that person looks physically doesn't matter at all.
Not even a little bit.
In that moment of comfort, they are the most beautiful person in the entire world to you.
Because their actions create a feeling of safety. And the babies continue, listing more actions. They say, "You clean us and preen us and pick out the nits."
Which sounds a little gross, picking out nits.
While picking out nits, small insects or lice might sound trivial or unappealing to us, grooming behavior in the animal kingdom is actually the foundational mechanism for social bonding.
Really? Just scratching each other's backs.
It is much deeper than that. It actually lowers heart rates, reduces stress hormones, and establishes deep emotional trust between individuals.
So it's the ultimate act of care.
Mm.
And then the babies deliver what might be the most important line in the entire text.
It's a beautiful line.
They say, "And we want you to know that we love you to bits." And notice they don't say, "We love you even though you have a gingery beard." They don't say, "We love you despite the fact that you smell like dead food."
No caveats at all.
None. They say, "We love all your spots and your warts and your bristles, your grunts and your groans and your hoots and your whistles."
And this completely upends the question we've been circling this whole time. What is true beauty?
The big question.
The babies provide the answer by linking the physical traits directly to the emotional experience. To a baby warthog, a smooth coat wouldn't provide the rough friction they associate with a comforting cuddle from their parent.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. And to a baby hyena, a graceful, silent stride wouldn't signal that their parent is finally coming home with food. They want to hear the loud, boisterous grunts and giggles. That means dinner is here.
So the very things the adult animals thought made them hideous are the exact things that signal love, safety, and home to their children.
Precisely.
Like, a flamingo's pink feathers can't scare away a predator, but the warthog's thick tusks and armored face sure can.
Form and function merge perfectly with love here. The babies explicitly state this conclusion. They declare, "We really don't think you look ugly at all. Your booties, your bombshells, the bells of the ball."
The bells of the ball. I love that phrase. It means you are the absolute center of attention, like the most gorgeous one at the fancy party.
It's the highest compliment.
The babies look at a stork with literal poop on its legs and a weird dangly pouch, and they say, "You are the star of the show." And they justify it with 4 specific words.
Yes, 4 very important words.
They say, "You're kind and you're cuddly, you're brave and you're strong." And that is our reason for singing this song.
Kind, cuddly, brave, and strong. Not a single one of those words is a visual aesthetic.
Not one.
No. They are adjectives of moral character and physical capability. The babies have successfully divorced the concept of beauty from visual perfection and reattached it to character and action.
And because they've changed the definition of beauty, they have to change the name of the group.
Naturally.
The babies refuse to let their parents sing that sad, self-deprecating anthem anymore. They create a brand new song. They sing, "You're the lovely 5. You're the lovely 5. You're sweeter than honey from bees in a hive. You're quite the most beautiful creatures alive. You're the lovely 5. You're the lovely 5.
It is a profound cognitive shift. I mean, think about it. The wildebeest did not suddenly shave her beard. The vulture did not magically grow a head of fluffy feathers. Their physical reality remained entirely unchanged.
They still look exactly the same.
Exactly. The only thing that changed was the mirror being held up to them. They were finally seen through a lens of unconditional love and functional appreciation, which transformed them from the ugly 5 to the lovely 5.
I am practically getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
It is such an incredible realization. But our mission today isn't just to talk about animals on the savannah.
No, it's about applying it.
Right. The whole point of this deep dive is to figure out how you, the listener, can use this exact story when you look in the mirror. How can you take the wisdom of those babies and find the lovely in yourself?
And translating this narrative into actionable psychological tools for a child is really the most valuable part of our analysis today. We can distill the core mechanics of this story into 3 distinct, highly actionable takeaways for you to use.
Okay, let's break these down because this is the toolkit for self-love. Lesson number 1, celebrate the weird.
The physical features that make you stand out from the crowd are the human equivalent of the stork's Giller sack or the hyena's spotted coat.
Your own personal lapettes.
Exactly. They are the highly specific markers of your individual identity.
Think about it. Maybe you have a cowlick. You know, that piece of wild hair that absolutely refuses to lay flat, no matter how much water or gel you put on it.
We all have something like that.
Or maybe you have a loud, snorting laugh that makes everyone turn around in a restaurant. Maybe you have a wide gap between your 2 front teeth, or a smattering of freckles across your nose that look like a constellation of stars.
Which is incredibly unique to you.
Right. But if you look at a magazine or a heavily filtered video online, you might think, I don't look like those smooth, perfect, graceful people.
The flamingos of the internet.
Yes, the internet flamingos. But your wild hair and your loud laugh are what make you, you. They are your gingery beard. They are your spiky mane. You have to own them.
Because when you try to flatten that cowlick or hide your smile to conceal a gap in your teeth, you are basically trying to be a puzzle piece with perfectly straight edges.
And straight edges can't connect.
Right. You are sanding off the very things that allow you to deeply connect with others. Celebrating the weird means recognizing that your unique features are actually your greatest assets. Which brings us to our second takeaway. Focus on what your body can do, not just how it looks.
This might be my favorite lesson. Just like the warthog's body is built for surviving combat and the wildebeest's legs are built for running thousands of miles, your body is an incredible, complex machine.
It truly is a marvel.
It is not an ornament meant to sit on a shelf, gather dust, and look pretty.
Viewing the body as an instrument rather than an ornament shifts the entire paradigm of self-worth.
Tell me more about that.
Well, your physical form allows you to run across a playground, to climb a tree, to squeeze a friend in a crushing hug, to taste your favorite meal, and to just explore the physical world.
It's how we experience life.
Exactly. When we judge our bodies solely by how they look in a static photograph, we ignore the dynamic biomechanical miracles they perform for us every single second.
I want every kid listening to really think about this next time they come inside from playing. If your clothes are messy, your knees are covered in dirt, your hair is tangled, and you are sweaty, don't look in the mirror and feel bad because you don't look like a polished cartoon character.
You shouldn't feel bad at all.
Be proud. Just like the warthog in the bubbling mud. That dirt is proof that you had an awesome, fun adventure. Your body did exactly what it was supposed to do. It let you play. The mess is evidence of a life being fully lived.
And that functional appreciation leads directly to the third and most profound lesson we learn from the babies. True beauty is action.
You're kind and you're cuddly, they're brave and you're strong. That is the real, undeniable definition of beauty.
It implies that beauty is not a static genetic lottery that you are either born with or not.
Right, it's not just luck.
No, it is an active practice. It is a verb. When you share your resources with a friend who has less, you are practicing beauty.
I love that idea. Practicing beauty.
When you stand up for a classmate who is being isolated, you are acting beautifully. When you offer comfort to a family member in distress, when you cheer them up in a bad mood, as the babies say, you are actively becoming the most beautiful creature in their world.
So next time you are feeling a little bit like the marabou stork, maybe you feel hunched and gangly, or your clothes don't quite match today, or you feel like you have giant metaphorical flaps on your face, I want you to remember this.
The very important reminder.
The people who really truly love you do not care if your hair is perfectly combed. They love your giggles, your groans, your hoots, and your whistles. They love you to bits, precisely because of how you make them feel.
It is a remarkably comforting framework. It normalizes the fact that everyone, without exception, feels like one of the ugly 5 on certain days.
We all have our warthog days.
We do. Everyone experiences self-doubt, and everyone occasionally compares themselves to the flamingos and lions of their social circles. But through the lens of action and love, you are always, undeniably, part of the lovely 5 to your community.
We have been on quite an expedition today across the African plain.
It has been quite a journey.
We started by looking at those perfect animals, standing symmetrically in the golden sun. Then we completely shifted our focus to a parade of wonderfully weird, Perfectly grotty, incredibly unique misfits who form their own club based on their shared differences.
Finding community in the unexpected.
Exactly. And finally, we listened to a chorus of wise little babies who taught us that true beauty isn't about looking perfect. It's about being kind, brave, and strong.
We examine the evolutionary biology that proves our weirdest traits are often our most functional survival tools, and we analyze the psychology of how our actions dictate our true value.
That's all connected.
It is. Embracing your appearance is never about pretending you look like everyone else. It is about celebrating the specific geometry of your own puzzle piece.
Well, listener, our time on the Savannah is coming to a close. But before you open your eyes and jump back into your real life, whether you're getting ready for school or heading out to play, I want to leave you with one final thought.
A piece of homework, so to speak.
A fun piece of homework. Tomorrow morning, or maybe even right now, the next time you stand in front of a mirror, maybe right after you wake up with the craziest, wildest bedhead you've ever seen, or when you are covered in dirt and grass stains from the best recess ever, I want you to look right at your reflection, smile, and ask yourself a question.
And this is a vital question.
Ask, what is one completely weird, entirely unique thing about my body right now that makes me perfectly lovely?
It is an exercise in reframing that will serve them for a lifetime.
Because true beauty doesn't look like a silent, perfect, boring statue. It moves, it laughs, it gets messy, it plays. It looks exactly like you.